we have the green light. Everybody will. Thank you, ma'am. I think that's good. I think they just goes to list. Okay, good evening, Dr. Thompson.
Hey, Dr. Thompson. Hello. I think I'm the only one with Earth. Y'all ganged up down there.
I know, you feel lonely. Y'all ready? Ready. Okay, we have a quorum at 6 o'clock. We are going to call to order at this time the regular board meeting for the Tuscaloosa City Schools, June 7th, 2022. Let's have a period of silence, and we will follow that by the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, board. Good evening, everyone. Nobody wants to talk tonight, I don't think.
Oh, good evening.
Thank you. All right, board, item number 3, may I have a motion to adopt the regular board meeting agenda.
So moved. Second.
A motion, we have a second by Ms. Williams. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? This will be approved. Item 4, approve the minutes of the May 3rd, 2022 regular board meeting, the minutes of the May 10th, 2022 called board student hearing, and the minutes of the May 24th, 2022 regular board meeting. May I have a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second by Ms. Powell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Those will be approved. Item number 5, recognize Tuscaloosa City School team members. Okay, board, Dr. Derry and Mr. Lucas and I were talking, and specifically this spring, but most notably, graduation was super successful and super busy, and we have some team members that do a lot of the recognizing, but rarely get recognized. And I would like to ask Ms. Avant, Mr. Crutchfield, Mr. McClinton, and Dr. Sherrod to please stand up so I can say some special words. I just wanted to say that graduation was amazing. I thought it went off with very few hitches, none that I even saw. Y'all did an awesome job and worked your butts off doing so, and I wanted y'all to know, and we wanted y'all to know how much we appreciate how much behind the scenes that y'all are doing, and just capturing the moments so well for our students. And y'all's hard work does not go unrecognized. It does not go unappreciated. We wanted to all say something special to you guys tonight. I know how busy the spring is. Y'all keep us up to date with all these events. Graduation is such a huge production, especially 3 nights in a row. And you two guys with all the media, just awesome, awesome job. So on behalf of the board, thank you for what you do for TCS, but especially how hard y'all work around graduation time in the spring to really bring it out for the system as a whole. So thank you. And any other board member welcome to say any nice words as well.
I would just say it was top tier. Like, we got in and we got out. That was the main thing, and it was an enjoyable moment. Dr. Sherrod, I don't know if it was you or Miss Avon. I knew it wasn't you guys, but you all made sure that the central office and the board members got to be there in a special way for our children, and so that was very, very special. Very special. So I know me, Eric, Darius, Dr. Darius. So I want to thank you all for that. But it was awesome. And the pictures, like he said, you all, when you go back and look at all the other pictures, if you was not at the graduation, it would have made you like, dog, I missed the graduation. It had me so full of joy to see. So you all did a wonderful job with everything.
Well, I totally appreciate all of you all, even though I was hopping a little bit, but hey, I was You all, it's been a long time, so I was out for a little while due to, a total right hip replacement, so I appreciate all you all, even though we had to walk that way, but I liked it, hey, it was worth it, so I appreciate you all so much.
So once again, thank you guys, and thank you for what you do for the whole system. Okay, item number 6, public comments on non-agenda items. There is no one signed up, which brings us to item 7, informational reports from the superintendent and executive administrative staff. 7A, Dr. Daria will receive the update on the 2022 Alabama State Board of Education English Language Arts textbook orders. I think this is Dr. Pope.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, board. This is an update. This was, we adopted, you all adopted CKLA grades K through 5 and HMH grades 6 through 12 on the April 5th board meeting. But this serves as an update for the budget concerns. We were able to purchase CKLA professional development, all instructional resources for grades K through 5, digital and print for all students in TCS for 6 years. I want to be reminding you all that we have not adopted a program for ELA since 2013. So that was almost 10 years now that we were able to adopt, and we adopted a program that was state vetted and followed the Literacy Act for grades K through 3. And our district decided to make sure that we were seamless with our approach in the buildings to be supporting grades K through 5 with this CKLA, which is through Amplify. And then we also, that amount was $1,455,295. It includes professional development, like I said earlier, all the resources for tiers 1, 2, and also any support that our teachers need for 6 years. So we want to make sure that we, because of the situation where teachers are coming in new, this program is brand new because the adoption year covers the ELA standards, which were also updated, and we are following along with the state ELA updates in that particular curriculum with our state standards. And that's the same approach that we're utilizing with grades 6 through 12 with HMH, grade 6 through 12, HMH into literature. The same approach for 6 years. We'll be working with professional development. Our teachers will be in ongoing professional development. Our principals and coaches, along with the teachers, are going through professional development, initial PD, but also ongoing PD and coaching along the way. The principals wanted to make sure that we were not building the plane while we're flying it. So we started early. As soon as you approved of the adoption, the PD started I think the following week. So our principals have been getting trained ahead, and then the coaches, and then the teachers, and that's what we've been working on. So the cost for the HMH, I want to say something about it. It's instructional materials and services, but this is the first time that we are putting our intervention efforts in the secondary, aligning with tier 1. So the core for grades 6 through 12 is we're putting in, our secondary principal stated that they needed a research program, a research-based program that was being facilitated by an instructor, but was aligned with the standards and would give those deficits, those kids in 7th and 8th grade, all the way to 12th grade, that they had in those deficits, that we had an intervention program to support it, and it was aligned to the adoption program. So we were able to adopt a program that fulfilled tiers 1, tier 2, and tier 3 in grades 6 through 12. With ongoing support and implementation support, and we will also get data checks from HMH and CKLA along the way. And the support, I mean, we've been getting it since April, and the support has been just magnificent as we approaching August. Our goal is to make sure all of our teachers are trained in the months of June and July, and when August occurs, we already have our plans together and execute those plans and implement on day 1 once the students get there. And the cost for HMH was $2 million, get my numbers right, $2,889,299.30. And it was, the funding sources are ESSER and textbook adoption funds. You have any questions?
All right, any questions for Dr. Pope? All right, thank you, Dr. Pope.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7B, Mr. Smith will now provide a overview and facilities highlights and board. Before he starts, in your packet was the extensive program that, and slides that Mr. Smith has put together for us. You also have a copy at the table with you this evening. So I've asked Mr. Smith to, because it is quite in-depth, and he's done a great job, thank you for putting this together, to hit sort of the high points and then ask the board if they have any questions on any specific item.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Board. First, we're going to get started right away. The first slide is our digital signs. We have them all installed as of right now. We're just waiting on electricity to be installed as well. Our Skyline 4-room addition is next. We're on track as of right now, so if there's any questions you have in reference to that, please let us know. They're doing a great job out there.
And can you refresh us when the estimated completion date is on that one?
It would be July 28th. Yes, sir. And the event lecture hall, you see that as written as well. We're looking for the event hall around July 22nd. We're right on track with support with New Heights, gym, library, offices, and upstairs. They still have their sign up ready already. Our branding, these are some branding samples for Bryan High School. You got page one slide. You have the next slide here. These are some branding sample opportunities that we are looking into. Same with Central High School. And also with Northridge. We're going to utilize Northridge. Northridge already had a extensive branding, so we're going to use funds in different ways with them as well. Next, you'll see our athletic high-cost facilities considerations. You have Central, Bryant, see those as well, and also Northridge.
And Mr. Smith, just to refresh the board's record, this is sort of a wish list that
Yes, sir.
we have not allocated or we don't have the funding for this quite yet. Is
That is
fair?
that is correct.
Okay.
Next, we have the gym floor. This is what we're planning on doing at Bryan High School this summer. And then next, you'll see some of the things we're doing in reference to our cleaning and carpet. We have schedules for all schools to be cleaned this summer as well. The next slide, you'll also see screening, recoding, parking lot striping. These are things we identified already, and so we have those scheduled as well for the summer. Our next slide is our assessment, our theaters. We're working with Dr. Schultz to improve those as well, so we have vendors checking on those for us, and will be giving us pricing for a later date for completion as well. Same with our bleachers and seats. We're doing the same thing with our auditoriums, goals, and gym seating. We have that contracted out for services, so that will be a staple in our school district from here on out. Next, you will see our library status. We will be adding furniture to Central High and West Lawn Middle School libraries. Hopefully, we'll be getting that furniture in around August timeframe. And what you see next is some of the things we've done already. We refurbished locks at Central High School in the football locker room. We got new locks. Everything is working operational. The next, you'll see Tascal's Playground. We added new mulch, new engineered mulch at the playgrounds at both places, so we're doing it across the district. And next, we did Oakdale as well. So we're doing that across the district proactively, increasing safety and using better products. Any questions?
Well, that's a lot to take in, but does anyone have any specific questions for Mr. Smith?
I do, Mr. Smith, on the auditorium.
Yes,
for
ma'am.
Central High School, what will they look like? Will they look like that first picture or the second one?
Let me see. The auditor-
Does it look like the seats are wider or something, or?
On that one, Ms. Williams, real quick, just, these armrests at Central High School, those are the ones that Mr. Smith's getting assessed there. They have to remanufacture those to reinstall them. So that company's doing an assessment of, it's not replacing all the seats, it's just getting them all up to par.
Right.
Because
But most of those
armrests are
companies
missing.
have long dispersed, so we're doing that. Yes, ma'am.
I see, I don't know, it don't say what page, but on the bleachers, the gym seating, I know you're saying to just make sure they're sturdy, but
Yes,
to make
ma'am.
sure we're doing a little better
Yeah,
with the cleaning of them.
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of the time, that's internal, so we'll be working with the staff there to help with that. And also, when you talk about sturdy and safety, we're talking about the railing and things of that nature. So our bid or our assessment is to do what we call smart rails. So they'll be where you don't have to take them on and off. As you put the bleachers in, they'll go down as well. So one of the issues we have is you have to take them off now manually, and then you lose pieces and parts. So we're using that as an opportunity to get a higher grade product so that you don't have to take them on and off.
Okay. I haven't been in the gyms, I don't guess, in about a couple months. Well, no, I just went in but I didn't pay attention to the gum and just, and you know, the internal people, they do something, but just making sure that it's better before the basketball season starts,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
that it's not filthy.
And we're working with Mr. Hurd and the team to make sure there's a collaborative effort so that those things are happening, you know, because they happen all different times of the day.
It look better than it has over
Oh,
the
yeah,
years.
we're consistently working at it, and our teams are doing a great job.
That's it.
So it is, when we say assessment/purchases, it is in our budget to do these things? Or where it says assessment and/or purchases, or is,
No,
I'm reading as in assessment says,
Which one you talking about? Talking about the bleachers?
well, on two of them, you got assessment/purchases. So does that mean we are moving forward, or?
When you come back to the bleachers, we have already performed an assessment. We've already established a purchase order already. We're not doing the whole thing, we're doing more of the safety items first. And then from there, we'll go back and reconvene and come up with a budget for the rest of them. Then after that, we have an assessment every year, which gives us, so because we haven't done it in so long, it's high right now. Once we do it yearly, it goes low, and we're able to keep up with it in a more proactive manner. And it becomes a part of, a staple of what we do every day,
Okay, so
every
with
year
the,
anyway.
with the ones for the theater and the stage, so are we, is that what we're doing in that instance? We've
No.
already assessed and we are maintaining?
As of right now, Dr. Schultz has already purchased a lot of those items as well. And we just received, as of yesterday, a quote for lighting at Central, more specific at Central. So we're working on that. That is a consideration as well to move forward with that one as well. I mean, so to answer your question, yes, we're moving forward.
Mr. Smith, can I add to that a little bit? To the question about the assessment, there may be some things that come out of the assessments that we're not ready to, that we don't have the funds for as of now. And Mr. Duke and Mr. Smith are working hand in hand to look at those things that are assessed as a need and determine where we place that as far as purchasing it or fixing it. The same way you saw like the parking lot striping. Not all parking lots will get striping this year. The idea is put them on a rotation so that over time they all get done. But particular to the seating and the bleachers, we need to, and the auditoriums, we're trying to take the priorities out, but also do it in a way that we don't overspend trying to fix everything at once. So it may be a year one, year two, year three on some of these things. Same way with athletics, those things that Mr. Wilson noted. Those are things, some we need and some we want, and ideally we'll be able to phase some of those in as we're able to budget for those.
So for Central, we're talking about, I'm just asking in general, how are we on the roofing before we start putting all this? Where are we on the roofing?
Central
before-
roof.
Oh,
Central,
the roof?
Before we start doing all these great
The
things?
roofing has already been.
It's
set.
done.
Oh, yeah. Well, that repair for over the theater is done. It's done already.
Okay.
But we are replacing the whole entire roof for Central, the rest of the area, this summer. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We've already met with the principal. Sorry.
Any more questions for Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
All right, item 7C, we'll receive financial reports for October 1, 2021 through March 31, 2022. And all reports are reconciled with bank statements through March 31st, 2022. Good evening, Mr. Duke.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, superintendent, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor and privilege to bring you the financial reports through March 31st of 2022. That's the halfway point of our year, 50%. And I'm going to kind of breeze through there, and then at the end I'll take any questions. The property tax is winding down. You'll see those numbers getting a lot smaller as property tax payment season is basically ended. It's still trickling in real small, so that's basically over, but it's been a good, healthy property tax season. On to the car tag tax. It's had one of its best months ever. If you'll notice there on March, $190,356. I went back 6 years. That's the best month I could find so far on car tag tax, so that's good and healthy. Moving on to sales tax. Sales tax continues to be strong here in Tuscaloosa City. You'll see the comparison so far year to date, and again, a strong month there for the month of March, and it's continued to hold up since about August of 2020 when we kind of started coming out of that COVID closure. When we thought it was going to be down, it's just it came back with a vengeance, and that's a good thing. To our monthly management report for the general fund. Probably go a little bit out of order of what I usually do, but you'll see two blue arrows there over on the far right. If you'll go to the lower one, you'll see that I always like to compare the month we're talking about to the same month last year. And so looking at last year, you'll notice expenses increased from $8,713,000 to $9 million. That always alarms me a little bit when it goes up. But if you'll go up on the page and look at the revenue also increased by about the same amount. So that's what we always want to try to do, is match revenues and expenditures. And so we seem to be in good shape there. Our target revenue is good at 59%. It's local revenues are coming in strong. Excuse me. Expenses there below that in red are 48.2%. Our target is 50, so we're below that. That's good. A brief update on CARES 2. Before I do that, let me talk about CARES 1 briefly. CARES 1 has been finished for months. It's in the book, spent, closed. Let me fast forward and skip to CARES 3. It's still in its infant stages, and CARES 3 has probably only been about 6% spent so far. I'll give you more detail on CARES 3 as it spends a little bit more. It'll pick up pace during the summer as the summer program uses some of that CARES 3 money. But again, CARES 3 is only about 6% spent, so we'll get to that here in a few months. Back to CARES 2. CARES 2 is about 38.9% spent or encumbered so far. So out of that $12,515,000, we've accounted so far, again, spent or encumbered $4,872,000. Of that, 36% of that has been salaries and benefits. The rest of it, the 63.8%, I'm calling all other expenditures, and I'll get to that on the next slide. One thing I wanted to elaborate on the salaries and benefits there, that 36%, there's about 24 people being paid out of that right now. So that equates to about 36% of what we've spent so far. On the next slide, kind of under that all other category, the 60-something percent, this is a slide that I stole from back in the fall when we were kind of projecting out the budget and what CARES 2 was all about, and Dr. Pope helped put this together. The other categories, other than salary and benefits, are high-quality instructional materials, professional development, supports for unfinished learning, and then, of course, air quality, repurposing space, safe and clean schools, things Mr. Smith does in facilities and maintenance. Another thing that's not listed on here is summer learning. That'll be a big chunk of that. And earlier on Dr. Pope's presentation, he talked about the textbook adoption, and he mentioned a figure, I believe it was 2.6 million. Some of that's coming out of this CARES too. Mr. Chairman, that's financial presentation for the month of March, and I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Duke. Board, any questions for Mr. Duke tonight?
Tell me again, what's in auxiliary services?
Auxiliary services is basically transportation.
That's what, okay. So with gas prices going up, and I know we're at least in the summer months, and I see
They have
that-
not propane prices have, they've been up and down. They have not tracked dollar for dollar with gasoline and diesel. So we've not suffered like the rest of the economy so far. Now, that could change, and we're tracking it, but we've seen that kind of go up and down, not kind of straight up like gasoline prices, oddly enough.
And then on our operation and maintenance, where we're about, I'm guessing, I'm not great at math, 600,000 between last year, that time. Is that due to some of the work that we're currently doing now?
It is, and I'll tell you a couple of things. One was Mr. Smith's presentation earlier. We're doing a lot more now that we've never done before to take care of our facilities. And we'd like to think we've got a lot of new buildings, but we were talking just the other day, and our 3 high schools are now coming up on 20 years old, or excuse me, 2 high schools are coming up on 20 years old. I still call them new, but they're not new. So facilities and maintenance is doing a lot of things that you saw on those slides that we haven't done, like the seaters and the bleachers and seats assessments and those things that Ms. Grant talked about on some of the bleachers. That we haven't done that recently, to my knowledge, and so we're doing a lot of things that we haven't done previously. The other thing is a lot of things we buy at the first of the year, October, November, December, that'll last us the entire year. So what I hope is that towards the end of the fiscal year, by September, you'll see that drop a little bit over time, because we make a lot of purchases up front.
This is gonna sound like a real crazy question.
No,
I
you're
should
good.
know the answer, but where are our URSA funds? Are they in the general fund, or are they separate?
They are separate.
They are separate.
They are separate.
So, okay, I don't have a question. I'm thinking, I've already expressed that. That may be later on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr.
Any other
Chairman.
questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Duke. All right, Board, item 8, introductions of motions, resolutions for a first reading. I will note, Board, before we get started, 8B, C, and D do have a request to waive a second reading, so we'll be asking for a motion on each of those. So at this time, 8A, receive, discuss first reading of fiscal year 2022 budget amendment number 1. Mr. Duke.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, this is our annual routine budget amendment, and this calibrates any items that have changed or any funding that came in after we prepared our budget back in August and presented to you for approval in September. And this is the first reading, and what I've attached is a summary document. And then also I put the original budget, and then I put in there the amended budget for your review. But again, I've got a summary document in there to just kind of review the general fund. There'll be a second reading at the next meeting.
Does anyone have a question for Mr. Duke on this first reading? All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Item 8B, receive, discuss, approve, first reading, mental health services coordinator job description, and a waiver of a second reading request. Dr. Cameron, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Board. You have the job description. This position will serve as a liaison between school, families, and community agencies. This person will be housed at the New Heights. Funding is partially from the state, and it is through ESSER as well. And this person will help identify and address the social and emotional needs, the mental health needs of our students in collaboration with our community agencies. And as Mr. Wilson said, we're asking for final approval of this job description.
Okay, Board, first may I have a motion to approve the waiving of a second reading?
So moved.
A motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So we will waive the second reading. Now, may I have a motion to approve the mental health services coordinator job description? Okay, questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? That'll be approved. Item 8C, receive, discuss, approve, first reading of job description for the information technology security specialist with a waiver of a second reading. That was a mouthful.
It is a
Dr.
mouthful.
Cameron.
I call it ITSS. This person will help us and evaluate our current practices, recommend improvements, and be able to implement those practices so we'll be safe with any cybersecurity threats. This funding comes from the state, partial from the state, and will be partial from local general funds as well. And as Mr. Wilson said, we're asking for final approval of this job description.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cameron. Board, first, may I have a motion to approve the waiver of a second reading? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? We'll approve the waiver. Now, Board, may I have a motion to approve the job description for, what'd you call it, ITSS?
ITSS.
Yeah. That's much better than what I said. May I have a motion to approve? We have a second by Ms. Williams. Did I hear you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Questions about approving this new job description? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? That will be approved. Item 8D, receive, discuss, approve first reading of job description for the dual enrollment facilitator with a request of a waiver of a second reading. Dr. Cameron.
This job description, if approved, will be, each of the high schools will have a person that will support and facilitate online courses, including dual enrollment, dual credit, and access. The position is responsible for instructional assistance, daily monitoring, and we will use the funding from Elevate for each of these three positions. And again, it's asking for final approval tonight.
Okay, Board may first have a motion to approve the waiver of a second reading.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Second reading will be waived. Board may have a motion to approve the job description for dual enrollment facilitator.
Second.
Questions, discussion?
Will this person work alongside the counselors at each school? So the counselors will help the students to plan their curriculum, whatever?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the students will also have an opportunity to sit down or with this person, or this person will double check that things are happening appropriately, or?
Just to monitor that they are doing what they need to do with these online classes, but the counselors will come in as well, as long as the teachers work with the school administrators as well. So this person will collaborate with all all three of those, and anybody in the building, most especially the counselors. Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful.
May I add to that response? We have a lot of students who are in dual or in access, and this person will be responsible for that room where they'll go, probably computer lab, and do a lot of that work. We'll do the collaboration that Dr. Cameron just talked about. Some of our students leave to go do this work, especially if they're able to leave to go on campus for dual enrollment, dual credit, but many have to remain. So this would be a person through the course of the entire high school day where students can go into that room with this facilitator and do their Shelton State, Stillman College, access, or UA work during the school day.
Will this person also, for lack of a better word, market or produce information for students so that they know what's available, know that when they should sign up,
That's
et
probably
cetera?
more the counselor responsibility.
Okay.
This one's going to be monitoring. This will be a classified position, so it's more of a monitoring, making sure they're catching up. But that's that collaborative work with the counselors to help in that particular area.
Okay.
Well, I would just say, I think it's awesome to add this help to the counselor, because the counselor already have a job.
They
And
do,
with
yes,
so
ma'am.
much dual enrollment going on, you know, it takes a lot off the counselor.
It
And
does.
teachers and whoever's one job, instead of piling job after job on somebody. So I'm excited about this.
Good.
Any additional questions for Dr. Cameron? Call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? That will be approved. Thank you, sir. Item item number 9 is the consent agenda. We have consent agenda items 9A 1 through 6, 9B 1 through 6, and 9C. Board may have a motion to approve the entire consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Each of those will be approved. Brings us to item 10, which is the regular agenda items for final adoption. 10A, approve the superintendent's recommendation regarding changes in personnel. Dr. Cameron?
Yes, sir. We have the superintendent's recommendations regarding changes in personnel. We also have a supplemental list. I will go through each page with you. Starting on page 1, you have 23 resignations. You have 1 3-day suspension of a certified personnel, 5 new certified personnel, 5 transfer of certified personnel, 1 new support personnel, 1 current employee who will become a bus driver in addition to his teacher responsibilities, 2 reassignments, 1 21-22 second semester academic incentive, 1 21-22 athletic supplement for West Lawn Middle School, 2 rehires of certified personnel, 7 part-time extended day tutors, which carries us to the supplemental list. You have 1 retirement, 2 resignations, 12 new certified personnel, 10 transfer of certified personnel. You have 2 new support personnel, 3 rehire of a certified personnel, 2 transfers of certified personnel, 2 reassignments, 5 summer learning academy, and 1 21-22 second semester academic incentive.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cameron. Board, are there any set-asides for a separate vote by number and designate the list that you're setting aside as well? Okay, hearing no set-asides, board may have a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendations. We have a motion and we have a second. Questions or discussion by number only, please?
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to know why so many resignations for a particular school could you tell me?
So there are a couple of reasons. So when they resign from us, they they tell us either it's a personal reason or it's a new position, new job, moving, those sorts of things. So it's a myriad of reasons coming out. Last Friday, we called many of the principals. We called the top 3 principals, so they're able to tell us where they are in the interview process. And you'll see some of these being filled at this time. It was a lot of resignations, and it hurt me to write it when I sent it to y'all the other day. But that's why I went ahead and we called, Pam and I did, and everyone in the office, Melissa. So we had a great deal when I sent it to you Friday. We worked through those yesterday and worked through those today. So you'll see we had 98 vacancies as we headed into this board meeting. If all are approved, we will have 65 vacancies. So we're filling 30-plus vacancies at that time. We're still working on some certification issues that we had today, just making sure they've got whatever they need, transcripts. So we've got a called board meeting next Tuesday. And we're also, and I put in my notes to you, we're having a teacher fair June the 16th at Central High School, where Pam and I will talk about certification, but we'll also have where our schools will reach out to those that are interested coming out. We also have it, transportation will be there as well. As you know, we need bus drivers, and we'll also have Kelly Services there for our substitutes. So I know it's a lot of resignations here. We're doing good with the 35, and if we can just keep on the 35, then we'll be okay. But they are working. When I talk to each of the principals, they are working through, and we're looking for candidates, but we're looking for the best candidates for them, because we had one come in today, and it just wasn't the right fit. So we're working through those procedures with the principals, and they're doing a great job of tealing through, and so is HR staff. They're doing a wonderful job getting the certifications through, and you get the supplemental list very late tonight because we're adding, as I was trying to walk out the door, we're still adding to the list.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to address the president or the chairperson to ask, am I appropriate to ask the question on number 24? Should we be,
I think we've gotten an email about that one,
oh, okay.
but you're certainly able to ask Dr. Cameron by number.
Put it in an email. This is the one I emailed you about May the 11th, I believe. And we were doing an inquiry, and the results of these findings are, yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Does that help you?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Nathan, I was gonna say, you know how many emails?
I thought you paid attention to mine especially.
You know, you my favorite, of course, but
Thank
I when she said, oh, like, she had to. We got it. I got it.
Any other questions? Okay, board, I will call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Those will be approved. Thank you, Dr. Cameron. Item 10B, discuss approve declaring Tuscaloosa City school buses as surplus. Dr. Cameron?
Yes, sir. We want to declare, we're recommending for surplus bus 01-201 and bus 01-206. For surplus, they will be disposed in accordance with the TCS Financial Procedures Manual, GH&I, Part 7.
Okay, board, may I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Questions, excuse me, questions or discussion?
The end, Mr. Chairman, could you repeat what you said at the end?
Yes, we'll do that in accordance. We have a financial procedures manual of how we're supposed to dispose of the surplus buses.
Okay, you had used some old language, I didn't, you
It's
know, I
part,
like the.
part 7 of the financial.
Okay.
Are you looking to buy a party bus?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We still get to use it for the ball race at Talladega, right?
Yes, that's open. If you can get out the grass that may be growing underneath it, yeah.
Okay, so many laughs and jokes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? That will be approved. 10C, discuss, approve declaring miscellaneous obsolete library furniture as surplus. Mr. Smith?
Good evening again, Board. This is to declare surplus of the furniture in the Central High School and West Lawn Middle School libraries in preparation for their new furniture. All furniture has minimal value and will be sold, surplused, or discarded as needed, based on the financial manual.
Okay, Board, may I have a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second by Ms. Williams. Questions, discussion?
Got one quick question. Okay, when you, who do we sell this to, or when will this be sold?
Well, it's not would necessarily be sold. We will repurpose it initially. We always like to find a way to utilize it within the district. And then once that happens and we don't find anyone that any other school that needs it, then the option is to sell it. And we do that as well. And then once we do that, we'll let it know. We put it in the paper or whatever we have to do to expose it to the public.
I'll ask you some later. Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Be approved. 10D, discuss approve Alabama Power Lighting Services Agreement for the Tuscaloosa City School Bus Shop. Mr. Smith?
Yes, this is a LED, we're gonna add, we're looking to add LED lighting at the bus shop. And this will save us approximately $3,750.36 annually. And this will increase security at the bus shop. And this will terminate our Northerton agreement.
Okay, Board, may I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Mr. Smith, we'll get the savings of the $4,000, but we also get the savings of the $5,000, do we not?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
You guys own it tonight.
Okay, we did vote, right? Did we vote on that? Yes, we did. 10E, discuss approve Chief School Financial Officer's contract. Okay, Board, you have been briefed by Mr. Ryan, the school board attorney, with the terms of Mr. Duke's proposed contract, new contract extension. And I ask that it be approved. I think on behalf of the board, Mr. Duke, done an excellent job. We're fortunate to have you. I know that I know the superintendent enjoys working with you and your staff. I know there's a high degree of respect from the board on the work that you are doing and have done. We are proud of having you as our CSFO. We are proud to offer you the contract. We are happy that you have agreed to stay on. We feel very blessed, especially in these tumultuous times financially, not only for schools, but also around the country. And I don't think there's enough words that I can say that how much the board appreciates the work that you do to keep us fiscally sound, as well as, free from audits. And you're just a good person, so thank you. And I ask that the board approve the contract that he has been presented with. So, Board, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? That will be approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no unfinished business to attend to. We have a called board work session on Tuesday. Is that still being held? Okay. Okay, personnel. And next called board meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight. Is that right? No, 3 weeks from tonight. June 28th. And having nothing further, are there any other announcements? We'll stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.